Our next story is from North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, poor and reclusive. A security threat for the region, an oddity for the world, where the government can ban laughing for 11 days, only in North Korea. This country has 25 million people, ruled by one dictator. His idiosyncrasies and self-obsession make for good stories. But what is life like for the people he lords over? Pyongyang shows you this. Women soldiers fawning over Kim Jong-Un, weeping what they call tears of joy. Tonight we'll tell you what these women really go through. Tonight we'll tell you the story of a defector, a woman soldier who fled North Korea. She revealed her ordeal, harrowing details of life in Kim Jong-Un's army, an army where women are subjected to relentless abuse. Her name is Jennifer Kim. She recently gave an interview to the Committee for Human Rights in North Korea. It's a US-based NGO. It raises awareness about human rights in North Korea. Jennifer Kim spoke about her life as a soldier, a life she describes as a waking nightmare. She spoke of cruelty she suffered, the punishments she endured, like dipping hands in freezing water, then hanging onto a freezing iron bar. It made flesh tear off her palms. Listen to this.
The punishments included running 100 laps around the field in full uniform, standing outside for an hour only in underwear in the cold winter, and other vicious punishments. The most difficult punishment to bear was to put my hands in freezing water in the cold winter and then to hang on an iron bar as soon as I took them out. North Korea is extremely cold. The moment I put my wet hands on the iron bar, my hands froze onto the bar. When I tried to remove my hands, the flesh was torn off. I can still feel the pain from thinking about it.
That's not all. Jennifer Kim says that 70% of women in North Korea's army have been victims of sexual assault and harassment. This includes herself. She recalled a day when she was ordered to the office of a political advisor, a representative of North Korea's Workers' Party. He was in charge of training young female cadets. And she was told to go to him. Had she refused, she wouldn't have been allowed to join the party. She would have been stigmatized for the rest of her life. She says she did not have a choice. So she let her supervisor sexually assault her. And it got worse. A few months later, she had to undergo an abortion without anesthesia.
So I told the political advisor about my physical condition. A few days later, he said to me, "Go to the military medical office at 10 o'clock tonight." I went to the military medical office like he told me. A military surgeon was already waiting for me. He performed an abortion on me without anesthesia.
It's horrible, this story. Jennifer Kim says she survived on just 3 or 4 spoonfuls of corn a day, a diet that malnourished her, so much so that she got her periods once every 4 months. And when she did, she had to use gauze instead of sanitary pads, the ones used for dressing wounds. That's what she had to use. And they had to be washed and reused by every soldier, she says. And when they went out of stock, the soldiers were forced to use soggy foot wraps.
There were times when I took the used gauze left by discharging senior officers. In my case, I used a total of 4 sanitary pads while serving in the military. 4 is not enough. That's why female soldiers use foot wraps as a substitute for sanitary pads. Foot wraps are what soldiers use when they wear military boots. It is a thick rectangular piece of cloth used to wrap the foot.
Her ordeal is gut-wrenching, and it's not the first such account we've heard from North Korea. 4 years back, another defector told a similar story, horrific accounts of abuse, torture, and sexual harassment. This, the defectors say, is the story of almost all North Korean women. You see, since the year 2014, military service for women has been mandatory in North Korea. All women have to serve in the army for a period of 7 years. They're enrolled immediately after they graduate from school, and they stay in the army until they turn 24. That's the longest period of conscription anywhere in the world, 7 years. It is estimated that about 40% of North Korean women between the ages of 18 and 25 are in uniform, and 70% of all North Korean defectors are also women. Most of them are from the military. They swim rivers and climb mountains to escape their tormentors. A vast majority of them land in China, and that does not end well. If they're lucky or they get in touch with human traffickers, they're smuggled to other countries like Mongolia, Laos, Thailand, and from these places they're taken to South Korea. But if they're caught by Chinese authorities, they're forcibly repatriated to North Korea. This is under a 1986 bilateral border protocol, a protocol that violates all norms and conventions on refugees. It's a vicious cycle, and the world cannot really do very much about it. North Korea is the most isolated country in the world. It does not respect any international law. Decades of sanctions have failed to make it mend its ways. Countless testimonies have failed to make it change its approach. Jennifer Kim's story is chilling. More proof of the horrors that people suffer in North Korea, but honestly, I doubt it will change anything. It's one more testimony, one more life saved perhaps. And that's all, unfortunately. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.